Greetings! Well, as the title implies, this one's for the Sony fans, because we're riding the Sony pony. This kind of all, well, only some of it, this kind of all came about after I got this Switch 2. And if you watched that episode, you know, I'd gone down the road of buying a monitor to sort of get the benefit more of the Switch 2. And this monitor had got two HDMI sockets. And I was thinking, well, what else can I plug into this TV? And I was looking at this and that. And then, I don't know, after the Switch video, a few people had mentioned, you know, you need to get a PS5. And it's never really been something I've been interested in, if I'm honest. There's been a couple of games that I know of that have come out for it that I've thought to myself, I'd quite like to play that. But I'm not buying a console just for 2 games. And so I left it at that, really. There've been periods where I've looked into it and I've thought, shall I, shan't I? And I've always decided, no, I won't bother. But, like I say, since I got the Switch 2, I don't know, I've really started, it's kind of another fad, isn't it? I've really started playing, well, the Switch 2 a lot, generally. And that kind of got me rethinking about the PS5 in the addition of having this monitor, which I could benefit from the PS5 with. So I looked into it again, and I was thinking of getting a new one. Because I'd watched Pete's Nest Tactic recently, and he'd recently got one and said that there were some deals going, so I started looking into it. But I still wasn't sure. Then I looked into what was available on eBay, and anyway, cut a long story short, I found someone selling a PS5 with a bundle of games that, when I looked into it, had got a reasonable amount of value, but I didn't want any of them. But this console, you know, it was apparently not used much, and it looks in good condition. So I ended up taking a chance on this second-hand one off eBay with this bunch of games. So it turns up, and it appears to be in great condition. I don't think it has been used much. Even the controller feels new. So I think it was a genuine sort of claim in the description that it was a very unused console. Because, you know, looked, it works great, no problem. It's been fine. So I've now got myself a PS5. Also, one of the sort of reasons for going down the second-hand route, aside from the money-saving aspect, is I've always sort of coveted the one particular set of blades, you know, the skins you can change on the console when that first came out. And because I bought a second-hand one, like the original console, it then meant I could get these blades that I've always coveted, which seem to have gone up quite a lot in price. I remember seeing them once in my local CEX, you know, years ago, and thinking I should buy them for the day when I do buy a PS5, and I never did. And they've gone up in price since then. And there was only like 5 in stock in the country in CEX, and there was one sort of semi-local, so I decided to go and look at them. Anyway, of course, it had to be the pink ones, so I've got the pink blades on my console. Magnificent. And then, of course, I had to get the pink controller to match. So, chuffed to bits, we've got the pink PS5 with the pink controller. And this, a lot of people have been saying to me the PS5 controller is fantastic. It is very good, I've got to say. It's by far the best PlayStation controller they've ever made. This one actually feels comfortable. Much more in line with the Xbox controllers, in my opinion. This is a mighty fine controller. So I get what people are saying, and the feedback and everything, you know, it's a great controller. But there was nothing wrong with the one that came with it. So I've now got like a white one and the pink one, and obviously I'll have the console pink or white. Obviously I've got mine pink. So there I was set up with the PS5 on my new monitor, and it looks lovely, just like the Switch 2 does. So like I say, I'd found a bunch, or I knew of a bunch of games that was available for it prior to me having one. I think there was 3 I'd got in my mind that I wanted. And like I say, I bought this particular bundle on the condition, but also in the fact that it came with, I think there was about 6 games with it, none of which I wanted, but all held significant value in CEX. And I've never traded so much stuff into CEX in my life as I did when I got this PS5, because I took the opportunity to get rid of loads of shit I didn't want. CEX were offering decent money for it in compared with what it was worth on eBay, and so I got a load of stuff together combined with these games that came with the machine, and that enabled me to get the games I actually wanted for the PS5 for more or less nothing. So that being said, I picked up the 3 games that I really wanted to play on it. The first one being, and loads of people have said to me, you need to try this. So I finally got Astrobot. And I've obviously also downloaded the Astro's Playroom, which you can download for nothing, which is fantastic. I've not actually tried the actual game yet. I have installed it, so I'm looking forward to getting around to trying that. And like I say, I got all these when I traded all the stuff in at CX, and that the skins. The next one I had to get was Tekken 8. I mean, I've never been a massive Tekken fan back in the day. I was always Virtua Fighter, but I've played these in more recent times, and they are fantastic games. So I had to get this, and I've got to say, this is fantastic. Beautiful graphics, a mighty fine game. So I'm chuffed to have that. And then obviously the other one I wanted was Gran Turismo 7. Now I loved Gran Turismo when it came out, you know, back on the PS1. It was so revolutionary. I've kind of fell away from the series more and more since then, and I haven't played much of them in between, you know, the early ones and this one. I've played quite a bit of this since I've had it. Really good, I've got to say. It's really well put together. I'm not quite, because I wouldn't call it a story mode, but the way it's set up, you've got to keep doing things in a certain order, and I'm not 100% convinced it's as good as just playing the game how you'd want to yourself, you know, because I think it's to give you an experience of driving all different types of cars, but sometimes you'll play races which seem really easy, and then sometimes you'll play some which seem really difficult. But that said, it's a fantastic game, and it looks beautiful. Obviously it's going to be hours and hours to sort of unlock everything. I might get bored by then, but for the moment I'm loving it. It's a great game. Since I've got those 3, you know, the initial ones I bought, I've started looking more into the library, and there's not a load I want on it, to be fair, but there are a few more games of interest that I wouldn't mind trying than I initially thought. So I've probably worked up a list of about 15 games, maybe, that I will sort of get round to picking up and trying. Some of which I have, but I'm not going to go through them all here. I'll show them on future episodes. But another one that I picked up fairly soon after buying the console was Super Woden GP. Now I'd been looking at this because you can this is like a download game on the Switch and PS4, and I'd looked at it, you know, months ago, and it sort of put it in my favourites, and I always keep track and just wait for a deal to come on it. And for whatever reason, I've never got round to buying it on the Switch or PS4. And then when I saw it was physical on the PS5, I thought that's the one for me. So I bought this. It wasn't much, I don't think. 20 quid, something like that. Mighty fine game this is, I've got to say. Sort of overhead isometric racer. Very arcadey. Kind of weird to play to start with, but you soon get used to it. And it's set out quite similar to Gran Turismo in how you've got the sort of map world, and you've got all different manufacturers where you've got to earn money to buy cars to enter certain championships. In that sense, it's quite similar to Gran Turismo, but obviously it's not a simulation. It's a pure arcade game, and I've never really got on particularly well with overhead or isometric games. This is by far the best one I've ever played. It's really, really good, and as an added bonus you get Woden GP the original, and you get Woden GP 2 on the disc, so you've got both games. I've not played much of the second one so far. The first game, like I say, I'm really, really enjoying it. It started to get a bit more tricky now, I've got to say. So I think I need to build up a bit more money to buy some better cars. The second one looks nicer graphically, but I've not played much of that to know if it's a better or worse game. But it's a fantastic game anyway. So if you're into your arcade racers, I thoroughly recommend that. And then the last one for the PS5 we'll show today. Now this is another one that's been out a few months now, perhaps 12 months, I'm not sure. And I remember seeing this again on the Switch, I think it was, for download, and I never got round to it, even though the title kind of interested me due to its sort of retro origins. And we've got Illusion Island. Obviously it was the illusion bit that drew me to it. Obviously Castle and World of Illusion on the Mega Drive, both fantastic games, and I immediately thought, well, this must be like a modern interpretation, and I'm like, it kind of is, I suppose, but this is what they call a Metroidvania. Not a genre I'm particularly bothered about. I find them a bit boring, but I've put this on and I've got to say I'm absolutely loving this game. It is fantastic. It's got a real charm about it, you know how like Cuphead has. But I mean, it's nothing like Cuphead, don't get me wrong, but it's got that kind of charm about it. It's so kind of really well drawn, and it's got really atmospheric music, and it's got you get some interspersed cutscenes with the cast of 4 characters. You can choose from 4 characters, Minnie, Mickey, Donald and Goofy. But some of the dialogue is really funny, especially Donald. He's such a cool character. And you can choose to play as any one of them. So I'm playing as Donald. I don't think it makes a difference, to be honest. You get different abilities, but essentially they do the same things from what I understand so far. But I really like it. It's not like taxing. It's just a gentle, relaxing game. You just kind of you explore these areas, and it's familiar Metroidvania territory where you explore these areas. And you've got to find different abilities to enable you to get to certain other parts, and you're looking around looking for keys to get through doors and that kind of thing. But it's so well done, honestly. It is a really cool game. I'm surprised how much I'm liking this. It's probably the one I've played most, I would say, on the PS5 so far. Really, really good. So I mean, you can download it on anything, I think. So if you're into that kind of thing, old school platformers, it feels more like that to me than a Metroidvania, and I think that's why I'm enjoying it. Right, we'll leave the PS5 alone now, but we'll stick with Sony. PSP, like I say, I decided to get a collection back of that, having sold it. So we'll run through a few more that I've picked up. First one, Crazy Taxi. Obviously, no explanation needed. Had to get this. It's a really good version of the arcade game for a handheld, obviously. And then, obviously, the PSP is amazing for these retro collections. So I've picked up this Capcom Classics Collection Remixed. There's another one of these I haven't got yet. But, I mean, obviously you can get a Capcom collection and anything, so you can't go wrong with these. Fantastic. And then, obviously, much like Crazy Taxi, I had to get Sega Rally. It's decent. I'm not crazy about this Sega Rally 3 or Revo or whatever you want to call it. It's just not the same as the original. But I had to get it, and it's great to be able to play it handheld when you're out and about. Now this one, I've never actually had this before. Whenever I've had a PSP collection, I've finally got Ridge Racer 2. It's always eluded me. I've never found it like in a local shop. I think I ended up buying this online. But I've still not tried it because I've played a bit of the first one since I've got that back. I think this is just more of the same, but I'm delighted to have it. Finally, after 25 years, however long it's been out. And then again, had to get Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins. We all love this, obviously. It's balls hard, but magnificent game. This is a fantastic version on the PSP, I've got to say. Absolutely beautiful graphics. You can't go wrong with it. Now, I did have this before, and I thought this was going to be the one of the ones I'd struggle to find again, and it kind of was. I ended up just paying to import it from America, and we've got the Atari Classics Evolved, which is a collection of sort of old Atari arcade games, and I think there's 4 sort of modern interpretations of them, if I remember right. I think. Anyway, doesn't matter. They're all Atari original arcade games plus these evolved ones. But I bought this predominantly because Tempest is on it. So, Tempest handheld, what's not to like? Again, I think I got this in a bundle, to be honest. I wouldn't have gone out my way to buy this, but I thought while it's there, I may as well keep it. It's got some classics on it. There's only 27 games. It's 8 only, I know, plenty to go at. But probably are some omissions what you think ought to be on here, really. But yeah, because there's no Streets of Rage on here, which is a shame. Yeah, I think it's got Golden Axe. Has it? No, I don't think it has got Golden Axe either. It's got Virtua Fighter. Oh, it has got Golden Axe, I beg your pardon. Yeah, but now Streets, it's got Comic Zone as well. I'd much rather have Streets of Rage on it than that, but, you know. Again, I think I got this in a bundle as well, and it's Burnout Dominator. Not tried this yet. I'm sure it's probably quite good. I've always preferred, you know, Burnout 2 was always my favourite for the crash mode, basically. But I'm sure that's pretty good. I'll get round to trying it at some point. Then, much like on the PS5, I've never had this before, but I thought I need to try it. Tekken Dark Resurrection. I don't know if this is the one. Was this the one based on Tekken Tag? I can't remember. I've tried it anyway, and it did seem quite good. So that's another great one for the collection. It's a damn shame there's no Virtua Fighter game on the PS4 on the PSP. Then I did have this one the last time I had a collection, but I don't think I ever tried it, and I've still not played this. Motorstorm Arctic Edge. But they are really good, the Motorstorm games, so I'm sure this one is just as good. I kind of, because you can get this on the PS2, but it's really quite expensive, and I've never had that, so I wouldn't mind picking that one up if I ever see it reasonable. But nevertheless, nice to have it on the PSP. And then the last one for today. Again, I've never had this before, because I was never into shooters when I had any PSP collection in the past, and I've picked up the Gradius collection, and I dropped really lucky with this. I'm sure I won this on bids, and it went really significantly cheaper than it normally does. But that said, this game is not as expensive as you'd think it might be, perhaps because it's on a small screen, but nevertheless I've had a quick go on, because it's got more than one game on it. Obviously it's the Gradius collection. You've got Gradius 1, 2, 3, 4 and Gaiden. What a collection. I've had a quick go on the original Gradius, and it, honestly, really good, despite the small screen size. But you know, put the glasses on so I can actually see what I'm doing. Fantastic collection. You really can't go wrong with that. So stellar pick up, that one. I think we'll leave it there. Let me know what you think. So I finally entered the PS5 field. Wasn't sure I'd ever do it, but that said, I've got to say, along with the Switch 2, since I've had both, I'm absolutely loving both, and I've played 99% modern games. I haven't touched retro. You know, craziness. I'll have to change the name of the channel, as Craig keeps telling me. Let me know what you think in the comments anyway. Thanks for watching. Be seeing you.